it's Dr. Cassidy. A few students had asked what you can do over the summer to prepare for 270. So I'm making a little video about what you can do to help you this summer. And welcome, congratulations, your last year of nursing school. So that's a big deal. We're really excited to be working with you in 270. Okay, so first I just want to talk to you about the types of memory, give you a little strategy for getting through the last year of nursing school. So we have our long-term memory. These are the things that we've mastered, things that we understand, things we can recall instantly, like 2 plus 2 is 4. I mean, that takes zero effort. And the goal is to move as much as we can here because when you know it, you know it, right? I could come up with that 2 plus 2 is 4 in like any dire situation. It's that embedded into my long-term memory. The other is working memory. And this is where you are spending a great deal of time right now as a student, and things you're actively thinking about, trying to figure out, things that you were trying to learn as a student. Okay, this relies on your cognitive load. And your cognitive load is how much you can think about at once. How much can I do at the same time? Can I, cook dinner and listen to my kids and study at the same time, right? So it's how much effort is needed for the task, along with how much effort is needed to manage or overcome the things that are around you. And those are external and internal things. So things like I'm feeling anxious or overwhelmed about something. So I have to manage that while I'm trying to learn. Or there's people talking around me, or there's a TV, or there's something. So I have to manage that while I'm trying to learn. Or even something as simple as somebody has an accent, having to manage trying to hear more intently and hear what they're saying, through their accent does also take time in your cognitive load. So some things you control, some you can't. And what I'm going to say is the more that you have to use here and your external and internal things that are taken away, the less space you have for learning the things that you need. Okay, so there is a lot of memorization in nursing, but the more that you can memorize the basics, the foundations, and apply those to critical thinking, the less time you have to spend in your working memory. Okay, so here, remember we all had to learn the multiplication tables. I don't even remember how old we were, but we learned those a while ago, and now they are ingrained in our brain. So once I've learned this, plus the formula for multiplication, now I can multiply all the numbers in the world, right? So certainly I don't have 837 times 9 memorized in my long-term memory, but I do have these other things. So I know that 7 times 9 is 63, 3 times 9 is 27, plus 3 is 33, and 8 times 9, 72 plus 3 is 75. So I can get to the answer really quickly using my long-term memory and having to rely less on my cognitive load. So how does this apply to nursing? So in like the cardiac concepts PowerPoint slide that I made for you, I just put together some of the medications that you really should know as a foundation. ACE inhibitors, vasodilators, they block RAS, and kind of like what they do. ARBs, also vasodilators, and they block RAS. Beta blockers, they block epinephrine, they block your adrenaline, so they slow your heart. So we know adrenaline jacks you up. So I know this is going to slow your heart rate down. It's going to decrease your blood pressure, and it's going to decrease your workload. So if you take time and memorize these medications, and of course, like the suffix, like the prils, lisinoprils is ACE. If you take the time to memorize this, then you have a better chance of answering questions correctly when you're feeling like you're kind of in the weeds. So for instance, this question, nurses caring for a patient in the emergency department, they're there for elevated blood pressure, but they also have an elevated potassium level. Which medication would the nurse question the provider about? So you might not even know all these medications. You might not recognize that Kayexalate is medication that reduces potassium. But if you've got this list memorized, you know that hydrochlorothiazide is a potassium-sparing diuretic. So that is going to increase your potassium. So I wouldn't give that to somebody with high potassium. Okay. So what else? So also, excuse me, you can decrease your cognitive load by decreasing your distractions. And this list, and there's another slide with the list too, these are personalized, so I don't want you to feel like that you have to do everything on this list. Just take the things that'll work for you, and the ones that won't or the things that don't fit, just ignore them, okay? So if you can work extra over the summer so that you have to work less at the beginning of the semester and really give most of your effort at the beginning of the semester, what that does is it decreases your cognitive load later on because students who struggle at the beginning always have this anxiety that they're having to manage while they're trying to learn about, I'm very close to the line. What if I fail? What if I don't succeed? So if you put all your effort right up front, it just really frees up so much of your cognitive load and makes it easier to learn. Creating a quiet and no interruption zone for your home. And it doesn't have to be 24/7, but just like, I'm going to take this half an hour. I need quiet. If people are distracting you in class, then let them know. And this is something too. I know if you are not hearing something, you might ask your neighbor about it, but then everybody that's behind you is now not hearing what's going on there. So I really discourage students from talking in the class. Certainly ask questions, but if you have you're in a place where you can't ask a question or you're too nervous or whatever, just jot it down and look it up after, okay? Um, Also taking notes in class. I would say if you can take fewer notes and just write down keywords that you have to look up after, because while you're writing, that is also taken away from your cognitive load of listening to what we're teaching. Get a good night's sleep. And then if you are somebody who would benefit from accommodation if you have attention deficit disorder or you have like severe anxiety or test taking problems or anything like that. You can just click on this link here and I'm going to send the PowerPoint slides along with this. And that is a form that you can fill out for OSDSS to get any accommodation that will help you with learning, really to reduce the internal and external things that are taken away from your cognitive load. Okay, and then also accept that learning takes effort. This is a lot of effort and it feels uncomfortable. It is not comfortable to be a student and to learn things. So, um, again, use what works for you, but I recommend studying in multiple short sessions because repetition is what puts things into our long-term memory. So instead of doing these long study blocks where you try to figure everything out, shorter blocks, even if you just have 20 minutes to do a quick review, it's just going to be the repetition that's going to help move things from your working memory to your long-term memory. Also ask questions. And I know a lot of students are afraid to ask for help. I definitely, when I was a student, was not a student that asked. But if you can overcome this uncomfortableness of asking, it really just makes it easier. And you can shoot emails too. We love when you send emails. And meet with our nursing resource coordinator, Dee. He can help with learning techniques and resources for school and non-school related things that are interfering potentially with your learning or making your learning more difficult. So as far as artificial intelligence, um, so sure, I mean, it's there. We're using it. Of course, we're using it. But a couple things to be aware of. It's more efficient to look it up. Sure, if I'm like, explain to me how Metopa law works, it can do that. You just need to make sure that it's accurate. So maybe if you're getting direct information, I would somehow maybe highlight that or don't denote that so that you know that later on you need a double check to make sure it's accurate because it's not 100% accurate yet. Also, you can do things like instead of asking it to give you a direct answer, ask it to give you a hint and to help you really think. And it just helps with your learning. Also, you can use it to practice instead of have it review your work if you're writing a paper or something. If there's some complex text that you're just struggling to get through, you can just copy it into there and ask it to say that to you in more simple terms that are easier to understand. You can also just ask it. I typed this in. I'm a nursing student. How can I use you? Because AI knows itself, right? So it knows what it does. So how can I use you to learn, study, and gain better understanding of heart failure? And I typed this into, I think that one was ChatGPT, and it just had all of these different things. I can help you make study cards. I can give you NCLEX questions. So there's a lot you can do with AI. I just want to make sure that you're using it in a way that helps you learn instead of just memorizing more things. Okay. So you asked for what you could do over the summer, and here is something you can do. There is, I know there's a lot on this page, and of course, this is not required, but I do recommend reviewing the Cardiac Concepts videos, and the PowerPoint slides are here to get a baseline of understanding of what's going on in your cardiac and your perfusion. And then these are the chapters in Lewis. Now, they're not the whole chapters. I put the page numbers just to review and make sure you have understanding of these sections. Um, and then the heart failure, and you've already taken heart failure in 180. So this is just a review PowerPoint slides that I've made. So good for you to review. And definitely email questions if you have them. We're off over the summer, so I don't know that I can get back to everybody right away, but please email me questions. The thing with taking the time to do this is it's going to give you that foundation. It's going to give you put a lot of stuff into your working memory. I'm sorry, into your long-term memory, so that when you're working on things coming up, and I'm going to show you all the classes, all the topics that this will help with. So in 270, if you've already done this work, you'll be halfway done with heart failure, acute coronary syndrome, and dysrhythmias specific to cardiac. And then also the concepts, the medications, the symptoms, all of those you'll be able to tie easily into stroke and renal, those topics. And then in 280, sudden cardiac death, MODS, and impaired central and peripheral perfusion. If you have this baseline, these are going to be very much easier for you to, again, with the meds, the symptoms, the concepts of how the cardiac is working, and then with the for shock and burns with the concepts as well. Okay, that's all. I hope you guys have a really great summer, and I really look forward to working with you all next semester.